That is the viewpoint from which the masters work. That's why it takes a little time for Maitreya to come forward, because he doesn't know the concept of time. It is still the moment which he is waiting for. That moment in which, on the physical plane, he steps forward and makes himself known. That will be the day of declaration, when he makes himself known. That day is a day in which the world will clamor as never before for Maitreya as leader, as representative of humanity, to speak to humanity. Maitreya is omniscient, omnipresent. And on the day of declaration, he will create a telepathic link with every adult on earth, everyone above the age of 14. And each of us will hear his thoughts, his ideas, his story, the story of our life till now, the story of the journey of humanity in incarnation, and a glimpse of the future as he sees it, he will present to us the extraordinary science of the future. And as he's talking, his energy, the energy of the Christ principle, the energy of love will flow out in tremendous potency through the hearts of all humanity. He has said it will be as if I embrace the whole world. People will feel it even physically. And at the same time, on the outer physical plane, there will be hundreds of thousands of spontaneous healings all around the world. In these three ways you will know that one, and of course only that one, is the Christ in the person of Maitreya, come to show humanity how to live together in peace, and how simple it is. How simple. It needs only the acceptance of the principle of sharing, and all else will follow. But that first step shows that you are still somewhat alive in your heart, that commercialization has not squeezed all of the juice of life out of you, and that you want for humanity what he wants for humanity, which is an end to pain and suffering, an end of starvation in the midst of plenty, an end of abundance and enough of sufficiency, to live simpler lives so that all can live well, perfectly well, marvelously well, but simpler. A simpler life is ahead for all of us. But it doesn't mean a life going back to the 18th and 17th century. It means a life in which we don't need so much to live. We don't need to waste in order to feel abundance. And to recognize that we hold this life in trust for the future generations, for our children and their children, and that we must bring the planet back to health. We think we have maybe 50 or 100 years in which to do it. The masters know far better. Maitreya will tell you so. 10 or 15 years we have to put to rights the world. 10 or 15 years. before its worst aspects are irreversible. In 10 or 15 years, some aspects of the travesty we have wrought on the world, and we are responsible for 80% of the global warming of the world. 80% is man-made. And don't let anyone persuade you that this is not true. It is man-made. And you will hear Maitreya say the same thing. I would like to read for you, if I may, a little bit written by my master after the day of declaration. This is what will happen after the day of declaration. And on that day, after this experience, because this will never have happened before or again, humanity will be completely different and will feel completely different. And it will be like wakening up. And we then have to decide what to do. Do we share or do we not? Do we gladly, willingly, because it has to be gladly and willingly and not grudgingly, all right, we'll do it if we must, but gladly and willingly, because we see it's the only and right thing to do, because it creates right relationship, which is what we want. We're all of us searching for unity, for union with all. But we can't have that. We don't see it, we don't find it in any of our structures. So we join groups, we join political parties, because we're aiming, looking for unity. But even in groups, even in political parties, we seldom find that unity. So we argue and bargain, you know. Firstly, after the day of declaration, men will awaken to a new situation, one altogether unfamiliar and strange. Nothing similar will have been the experience of anyone alive. No one anywhere will have heard before the thoughts broadcast on that day of days. Never before will men have heard the call to their divinity, the challenge to their presence here on earth. Each singly and solemnly alone will know for that time the purpose and meaning of their lives, will experience anew the grace of childhood, the purity of aspiration cleansed of self. For these precious minutes, men will know afresh the joy of full participation in the realities of life, will feel connected one to another like the memory of a distant past. Thank you very much.